So last night we came into camp and it had been raining all day, and it has been one of the wettest winters on record. It's just been constant wet. So when you come into the woods like that poor person down by the stream, it's cold, you want a fire, but when it's this damp, gotta do it right. Got to take all the steps necessary to guarantee fire, because if you don't, you put in a lot of effort to see that effort just wasted. And the real difficult fine parts of the effort are getting that tinder right, and once you've blown your tinder, got to get it again. But there is a way of collecting a lot of tinder in very damp conditions, and that's what we used last night, and that is getting some standing deadwood and splitting it like this. Now, we found some really good fat pine, and Scots pine, I love Scots pine for lots of reasons. Really beautiful tree, but it's one of those wildcraft trees that really bring home what nature has to offer. It's just such a generous tree. You get fantastic cordage out of it, so you can build your shelter out of it. You can get nutrition out of it. The pine needles themselves, very easy to access, make a really quite strong tea. In springtime, which we're heading into now, the male cones, when they produce the pollen, you can collect that pollen. It's high in protein. I have collected it, but I've never really collected enough to process it either, so that's another one for the bucket list. But to me, the real beauty, absolute key to the Scots pine is its ability to give us fire. Lower branches have the fat pine, and if you generate this properly, and it's not hard to generate it properly, even in the wettest conditions you saw yesterday, you can get absolutely fantastic tinder, because that initial burn is so key getting your fire going. If you've got enough tinder to generate that wood gas, that heat to turn the constituents of the wood into gas to burn, that's what we're doing, remember, then you've really got to start. Once you've got that initial flame going, you've got some heat, embers building there, you're gonna have to struggle to put that fire out again, as long as you've got the smaller pieces of wood. Now, what we did last night, we kept splitting these. There just wasn't any little sticks. And as much as we wanted little sticks to be around, it's really easy to collect them. They were all saturated. I even did collect some of the Scots pine twigs, which I, again in the past I've used, and took off the outer bark. It was still quite damp, it still didn't work so well. So in these circumstances, Heartwood, can't go wrong with. Of course, you need the tools to access it. We're going to produce some feather sticks from the inner heartwood of the split pieces of wood as well. And again, this is just going to give us that advantage when we're starting that fire. Put, instead of the small sticks, some of the feather sticks on as well. We'll find they go really well. What we've got here is we've got a knot. Now, when we're cutting up wood, we tend to, on longer sections, try and remove these because they make splitting the wood really difficult, and you can make an anvil out of them. So again, little things make a lot of difference to how easy tasks are. So now we've got a right firm surface to push that on. It's not going to move. We've got our knife. We start and we roll the knife across the wood. So it's just easy. It's not hard, not putting a lot of pressure on there. Obviously a knife sharpness is really important. And you can keep going. You can make really big ones. We could have kept going there. Little tip, if you are thinking about, is the wood dry? Just, if it's like, feels like blotting paper there, that really just took the moisture out, that's really dry. And again, do that a few times in different grades of wood, and you find in the end, you get quite used to tasting wood and finding whether or not it's got moisture in it or not. That's beautifully dry. So again, if we then get a few of these, once we get our fat pine one going as well, pop these to the side, add that in, then get some of the sticks that we've generated by splitting this down further. Even in the wettest, coldest conditions, you'll have yourself a beautiful roaring fire. And out here, everything's much finer. in wet winters like the one we've just had, finding dry sources of wood, and certainly in days that are wet, can be quite a mission. Obviously a good saw and a good axe makes a lot of difference. So what do you do if you've got a knife but no saw? You can't get to that heartwood, right? A little bit of knowledge again goes a long way. We've got this fallen Scots pine here and very rotten on top, totally useless. However, where it's split, dry wood, fantastic. What we're going to do, we're just going to get the knife, we've got the fire steel, that's all we're going to give ourselves. We're going to see what we can get out of there. There's a spider hiding, like dude, he's just in the wrong place. Go on, that's it. We're getting somewhere. Okay. Oh, we can keep going. I've also managed to drag this big piece of wood out so you can see how we can actually get quite a bit of reasonably dry wood. So we'll use that as a base. So you can see, I could have kept going. We have fire from the heart of one of these wonderful Scots pine. And obviously, we could have had that shredded into sticks. You saw that, just a knock more of that out there. Happy days, fire.